Hi guys and welcome. Now, before we get started, there are just three things that I want to get out of the way. One, I'm not trying to be anti anyone here, so don't take it that way, please. Two, these are just my opinions. They're not to be taken as, fact for you, any assignments or anything that you've got. These are my perceptions of the things that I know or found out. And number three, the statistics in this I have tried to back up with at least two sources, but I haven't been able to read the original study, so I can't really vouch for it. But I think the fact that I managed to find a couple of sources saying the same thing, and I think that really is the best that I can do right now. Okay, so today I wanted to discuss why it's difficult for girls to get into gaming sometimes. Now, this, I think, is kind of a misconception because 48% of gamers are female. Yay, yes, right? This includes any platform, including consoles, PC, handhelds, and TV. So the reasons why people play games are the same for everyone, regardless of sex or anything like that. And one, it's fun. But also, Jane McGonigal in her book Reality is Broken, kind of, this is paraphrased by the way, said that people play games because reality is broken. It lacks objectives and rewards that are clear and attainable. And she also comes up with a number of fixes for the real world, but again that's a different video. Is a lot of my female friends that don't play games like Dead Space and Resident Evil and, the big games, why they think that playing games like Candy Crush Saga is an acceptable use of time, but as soon as their boyfriend is playing, Call of Duty or something, that's immediately a waste of time, and they shouldn't be doing that while they're talking to them, even though they're already in the middle of a match, but it's fine for them to continue playing Candy Crush Saga. I do also have to say, I don't think this is most girls, but I have seen it happen. So I have three intertwining theories for kind of why some girls find it difficult to get into gaming, and for why some girls kind of have this take that, that some games are a waste of time. And I think one of those is stereotyping. Now, as I've stated before, 48% of gamers are girls. So we obviously know that the stereotype saying that girls don't like games is utter bullshit. It just is. But it's a stereotype, and it's out there, and a lot of people believe it. A lot of people believe that girls are bad at games because it's just what we've been told. I know this isn't true. I've played with males and females. I mean, I'm a bad gamer and I just happen to be a girl, so. But a lot of girls are not bad gamers, they're not. If you haven't already played games with family members when you were younger, then you kind of don't feel able to play games in that you've basically been told that because you're female you're bad, and that the only time you should play games is with your boyfriend as the medic because they need a medic. But I do also have to point out the stereotype isn't that girls don't play games at all, it's more that they play app style games like Farmville and Candy Crush Saga rather than, the mentioned slightly more intensive games. Reason two why it may be difficult for some girls to get into gaming is sexualisation. So I mean, video games aren't tested on females, and that's sexism within the industry, but that is a different story. We're not here to talk about sexism, we're here to talk about sexualisation. Now, only 15% of playable video game characters are female. 15%. And most of these characters are very curvaceous, almost perfect looking. I mean, there is variety within them. Yeah, most of them are sexy. I don't mind this. I like running along thinking, look at my video game booty, it's sexy. I don't mind thinking that because I grew up with Lara Croft's boobs just being there. And it was funny, and it wasn't a point, I didn't think, when my mum was playing Tomb Raider, Lara Croft having big boobs made my mum any less attractive. But I can see how some girls who are already maybe kind of have low self-esteem playing video games for the first time may look at these characters and think, this is what men want, and I don't look like this. So as soon as you step into this role of, even if there is a female character, it's immediately, you kind of get some negative perceptions going on. It takes either growing up with it or a little bit more self-confidence to realise that people don't actually expect you to look like this. It is, games sell on attractive characters. Sexualisation happens even within the male characters. I mean, if you look at Wesker and Chris and Leon, none of them are ugly. That's just Resident Evil. I should include some variety. Isaac from Dead Space, and just, they're all these really buff, muscular, good-looking guys, and, you know, you don't really get the ugly male characters either. So it's not necessarily that females are more sexualised, it's just that we notice it more because there are less female characters. So my third theory is intimidation, and this mostly comes to online gaming rather than the games themselves. Not all women experience this, by the way, but I know for a lot of women, and I've included a link in the description below, some of the websites including examples of this. As soon as they find out you're a woman, all insults become about you being female. You're either a bad gamer, or you're fat, ugly, or a slut. You know, some of it is innocent. Some jokes are like, just get back to the kitchen, which I personally I hate it. It makes me angry because I'm horrible in the kitchen and it reminds me of that. You might mean them as a joke, but other people aren't going to take them that way. And I think trash talk in games should be restricted to being about the game. You know? Say things that you would, you know, it doesn't matter about what sex someone is. You can't say, oh, you must be fat and ugly because you're a female and you beat me. Keep trash talk to things like, oh, I'm gonna wipe the floor. I'm horrible at trash talk, but keep it game relevant. So instead of females being able to relax while playing games, they are instead faced with this barrage of personal attacks, and it's just not relaxing and it makes gaming not fun. I personally hate playing online. The other reason why it's intimidating is because if you're like me and you're female and you happen to be a bad character, you become representative of your entire sex, even though you're not representative of your entire sex. Yet if you're a good female gamer, then you have no life, or you're the exception. You can't win as a female because you've either got the pressure of your entire sex on you, or you're a freak. And that's not true, but that's kind of what online gaming does to you. Now, the exception to this that I have found is MMORPGs, massively multiplayer online role-playing games. Because you create your own avatar and it can be male or female, it can be any race or class that the game has to offer. And so you see a lot, you know, it seems almost even between males and females to characters, and you can't tell who's playing the game, whether they're male or female. And I've also noticed in MMORPGs that even if somebody finds out that you're actually a female, they don't give a shit. Okay, so you may get the occasional gift, which is nice, but it really shouldn't be just because you're female. Some people are just nice and they give gifts to everyone, but sometimes it is because you're female that somebody will be more likely to help you. And I think that is just as wrong as people insulting you because you're female. But on the whole, in MMORPGs that I've played, literally nobody cares if you're female. And my personal theory is that that is because there are so many female avatars. Now, in most games, where there are hardly any females, you go along and you see a female, and because, you know, she's novel, you haven't seen another female in this game, you think, yep, she's sexy. And then if an actual female comes online, you're in that frame of mind of being objectifying to women, if that makes sense. You're already in the frame of mind that women are rare. Women are something to be ogled at, but they are terrible AI, or they're just not worth it, they're not a playable character, they're not as good as males. But in MMORPGs, so many people are female that you barely even really notice. So when you find out somebody is female, it's like, oh, okay, cool, well, we've already been talking to you, so yeah, I know if I like you or not by now. So I think it's because of more female characters being around that I think that MMORPG characters are slightly more accepting of female characters, yet, you know, there's the stereotype that they have no life. That's not true. MMORPGs is a way of life. So instead of, you know, treating people like eye or mind candy, you've already been experiencing a bigger range of people in MMORPGs, so you're already in that accepting frame of mind where nothing is a shock to you, nothing is novel, so why does it matter? It doesn't stand out. I think that's due to the way games are created. If things are novel, you are always going to look at them more, they're always going to stand out more, they're always going to change your frame of mind. If things are normal, you just don't care about them. Okay, so to summarise. 1. Stereotypes. They're nonsense. They are just stereotypes. They don't really actually happen. There are some people who act on them, there's, some people who don't. The stereotypes are not reality. 2. Sexualization. There are 2 things that have to meet in the middle here. Get over it, if you're a player, because it happens to everyone. And creators, try and be a little bit realistic in your range of females. And males, actually. Be more realistic in your game character creation. Number 3, online players. Remember that people are people and they deserve respect because they are human. Keep trash talking to game relevant things and do not make it personal. And number 4, more female playable game characters put everyone in a more accepting frame of mind so people are less likely to make a comment as to somebody being female or not. So these are just my personal theories. Leave a like if you agree with everything I say. Leave a comment in the description if you disagree. But make it constructive. Don't just make it insulting because then nobody wants to listen to you. If you make it kind of a more educated debate, then people care more about what you say. If you agree with me but you have a different standpoint, leave a comment. If you've got anything to say, leave a comment. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.